Today, we're diving into one of the most ambitious environmental projects in human history. Seriously, the scale is just mind-blowing. It's a story about incredible success, a totally unexpected twist, and a really profound lesson about how we interact with the natural world.
It all kicks off with this number, 186 billion. Just let that sink in for a second. That is the estimated number of trees that China has planted since the 1970s. This isn't just gardening. This is planetary scale re-engineering. We've never seen anything like it.
So you look at that and you think, wow, this has to be the greatest climate success story of all time, right? Well, that's what everyone thought. But as scientists started digging deeper, they found out the real story is, well, it's way more complicated and honestly way more fascinating than you can imagine. To really get what happened here, we've got to go back to the very beginning. We need to understand the why behind this project, which is now famously known as China's Great Green Wall. Okay, so our story is centered right here on the lowest plateau. Picture a massive, incredibly dry region. The soil there is this superfine, loose silt, and without any plants or trees to hold it down, it just blows away. After centuries of farming and deforestation, it was turning into a giant desert. And all that loose soil, it created a huge public health crisis. This wasn't some far-off problem you read about. This was personal. People in big cities like Beijing would literally wake up, look outside, and see the whole sky had turned yellow. It was apocalyptic. Visibility would drop to almost nothing, and just breathing the air was a serious health risk. These terrifying sandstorms were a regular, dreaded part of life. So, in 1978, China decided to fight back. They launched the 3 North Shelter Belt program. The goal? To build a massive green barrier, a great green wall of trees, to literally hold back the desert. And what's wild is the timescale. This isn't some 5-year plan. It's a multi-generational mission that's not even scheduled to be finished until 2050. And for decades, it seemed to be working perfectly. The results were nothing short of a monumental victory. Just look at these numbers. It's incredible. China's forest coverage has nearly doubled. It went from just 12% back in 1978 to about 23% today. That's a complete reversal of what was happening before. And these weren't just numbers on a chart. The successes were real things people could feel. Those sandstorms that used to choke the cities, they became rare. The air got cleaner. And farmers, thanks to programs like Green for Green, started planting things like fruit trees and herbs, creating new ways to make a living. They even created famous products like the super sweet Aksu apples. It looked like a total win-win-win situation. But, and you knew there was a but coming. This is where our story takes a sharp and unexpected turn. While everyone was celebrating this huge green victory, scientists started noticing something else, a shocking, hidden cost. They started asking a really tough question. What if the solution to one massive environmental crisis had, completely by accident, triggered a brand new one? And they found their answer. All those billions of new trees, well, they were thirsty. Really, really thirsty. So thirsty, in fact, that they were creating a massive new problem with water. The very solution was now fundamentally changing the way water moved across the entire country. And this brings us right to the heart of the issue, what's now called the thirsty forest paradox. To understand how this works, we need a quick science lesson on water. It's actually pretty cool. So to get this, you need to know about 2 types of water. First, there's blue water. That's the easy one. It's the water you can see, the stuff in rivers, lakes, and underground. It's what we drink and use for our crops. Then there's green water. This is the invisible water. It's the moisture held in the soil that plants suck up through their roots and then release back into the air through their leaves. So scientists found that this process of plants releasing green water, it's called evapotranspiration, had shot up by a staggering 32% across the lowest plateau. All those new forests were literally breathing massive amounts of moisture out of the ground and into the sky. Scientists came up with a really great analogy for what was going on. A lot of the trees they planted, like poplars, grow super fast, but they aren't native to these dry areas. They are incredibly thirsty. They were basically acting like giant water pumps, just sucking up way more water from the soil than the local rainfall could ever hope to replace. And here is the absolute core of the paradox. In the north, the very place they planted the trees to stop desertification, the soil was actually getting drier, and less blue water was making it into the rivers. Meanwhile, all that green water vapor in the air had to go somewhere, right? Well, it traveled south, making other regions, like the Tibetan Plateau, way more humid and rainy than they used to be.
This discovery, as you can imagine, led to a huge shift in thinking. The strategy couldn't just be about planting as many trees as possible anymore. It was time to start planting smarter, not just harder.
So the new playbook is completely guided by science. Step 1. Before you plant anything, you have to analyze the area's water balance. Step 2. Prioritize native plants, the ones that are actually built for that climate. And this is a big one. Step 3. Move away from planting huge fields of a single tree species, and instead create diverse, resilient ecosystems. It's about seeing the whole landscape, mountains, rivers, forests, as one single connected system. And this whole experience teaches us a much deeper lesson. It's a lesson about all of nature's complex and often invisible connections. For example, check this out. We think of sandstorms as a bad thing, right? But scientists have discovered that dust blown all the way from the Sahara Desert carries crucial nutrients like iron across the Atlantic Ocean, where it literally fertilizes the Amazon rainforest. A desert is feeding a rainforest thousands of miles away. How cool is that? And it's the same for other things we see as bad. Some tree seeds will only start to grow after they get the cue from a snowmelt. Others actually need the intense heat from a wildfire to crack open their shells. So when we try to eliminate every negative event, we might actually be disrupting the very cycles that keep an ecosystem healthy. Which leaves us with this one final, really important question. The story of China's Great Green Wall is this powerful lesson in humility. It shows us that even when we have the best intentions and put in a massive effort, when we try to fix one part of nature, we have to stop and ask, what are the unseen connections we might be breaking? What are the bigger questions we're forgetting to ask?